Hey everybody, I'm Jack Reedy with Future Pastimes, and I'm a designer on expansions for the classic Dune board game 2019 edition from Gale Force 9. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the spice collection phase and all of the good stuff that goes on in that phase, mostly collecting spice. So, spice collection is the penultimate phase of a game turn, with the last phase being Mentat Pause. And in the spice collection phase, any player with forces in a desert territory with spice will collect spice. So let's break that down into basic and advanced. In basic, you're going to collect 2 spice per force in a territory. So let's say that you are in Windpass North. There is 6 spice there. If you have 2 forces in that territory, when you get to spice collection, you will collect 4 of the spice there. Now, the remaining 2 spice will stay in that territory. And that means in the following game turn, it could be destroyed by the storm if it goes over or ends on that sector. Could be destroyed by a worm if you draw a worm, and that territory was one of the last territories on the top of the discard pile. You could end up getting into a battle in the next turn if somebody else sends forces in there to try to collect that spice. Or if you make it all the way to the next spice collection phase, you'll collect that spice. You'll collect 2 more, or depending on how many of your forces you leave in there. So if there's 2 spice left, you just need 1 force in there. Now, that is all true in advanced. What's also true in both basic and advanced is that the collection rate increases if, when you get to the spice collection phase, you have forces in either Arakeen or Carthag, or both. In that case, you technically have access to carryalls with the ornithopters, so your collection rate increases to 3. So you get 3 spice per force. So in that same example, if there were 6 spice in Windpass North and you had 2 forces there, they would collect all of the spice if you also had forces in Arakeen or Carthag. So yes, true in advanced, true and in basic as well. Now, what is different in advanced is that in the spice collection phase, players who have forces in Carthag, Arakeen, and Ixian also collect spice from those strongholds. It's taxes, or the equivalent thereof, in those territories. It's 2 spice for the 2 big cities, Carthag and Arakeen, 1 spice for Ixian. So, if you have forces in both Carthag and Arakeen, you would collect 4 more spice from the spice bank in the spice collection phase. And if you also had forces out in the desert with some spice, you're racking up the spice. You're getting a lot of spice in that spice collection phase, which is great because spice is really important in the game of Dune. Now, a couple of the expansion factions have some interesting effects on the spice collection phase themselves. So let's start with the Ixians. So the Ixians have their cyborg forces, and cyborgs have a lot of good uses. They count as 2 forces in battle rather than just 1 each. They have a base movement of 2 territories instead of just 1, so even without ornithopters. But they can also collect 3 spice. So even if the Ixians don't have forces in Carthag or Arakeen, if they have cyborgs in a desert territory with spice, each cyborg will collect 3 spice. Now, the faction sheet says carry 3 spice, potato, potato, really. It's the same thing. You're collecting that spice. Now, they have the suboid forces, and those collect spice, normally 2 spice per force, without the ornithopter carryall situation of Carthag and Arakeen. And if they do have forces in those 2 territories, or either of them, even a suboid can collect 3 spice. So let's say that, again, we'll use Windpass North, and there's 6 spice there. You have 1 cyborg and 1 suboid. You would collect 5 of that spice. So the cyborg will collect 3 of it, suboid will collect 2, and of course, if the Ixians control Arakeen or Carthag, then those 2 forces would collect all 6 of the spice, because each one will collect 3 spice per token. So the Ixians, a little bit of an edge there when it comes to collection, often overlooked because they have a lot going on, and you're not really thinking, but you're thinking about your cyborgs. They have the stars, and people just really think about those in terms of the combat. But again, if you have cyborgs making a move, they can move 2 territories, and that can be very important. And of course, even if there are suboids in the group of forces that you're moving, as long as there's at least 1 cyborg there, your movement rate is at 2. But for collection, it is just 3 per cyborg. The cyborg presence doesn't increase the collection rate of suboids. So you do have to pay attention to your distribution of cyborgs and suboids when you're thinking about how much spice you want to collect. The other faction that has an interesting effect on spice collection is Richese. And again, this is another subtle element that a lot of players aren't necessarily aware of right away, and it has to do with the no-field tokens. So the Richese player has their 3 no-field tokens, which mask how many forces they're shipping down. So it's either 5 forces, 3 forces, or 0 forces. But the token itself is considered as 1 force for terms of shipping. So if you wanted to ship directly to a desert territory with spice, with a no-field token, it will cost you 2 spice because you're treating it as 1 force. And it is considered 1 force until revealed, and then that's how many forces are there. So if you have a no-field token in a desert territory, let's say, for instance, the 0 token, and you don't reveal it, and there's no battle. So if there was a battle in that territory, they would have to reveal the token when they reveal the battle plan. But if there is no battle, they can leave that token there and not reveal it, and they'll collect 2 spice. So even the 0 no-field token can collect 2 spice in the spice collection phase if they are in a territory in the desert with some spice. Likewise, if they have that 0 no-field token in Carthage, Arakeen, or Tuixiche, and it's not revealed, they will still collect the tax spice from those strongholds. So don't underestimate that 0 token. I usually just use it to harass people, but if you're going late in the turn order and you see, well, there's an empty stronghold or there's an empty spice blow, move in there and collect some of that spice. You can reveal the token anytime before the battle phase, but and you would have to reveal it in a battle. But if you're not shipping down another no-field token in the following turn, you can leave that token face down. Keep collecting that spice. So far my record is 4 spice with the 0 token. I left it in it was in an area where there was a lot of spice, and some of it was collected, and then the forces left. So I just moved in with my 0 no-field token and left it there for a couple of turns, just picking up 2 more spice each turn with it. So that's it. Spice collection. It's really just about the spice in the desert, and in advanced, it's about controlling those 3 strongholds for extra income on there. And of course, these factions have a little bit of a nuance when it comes to spice collection. Let me know if you have any other questions about spice collection, the phase, the concept, or anything related to these 2 expansion factions. Ixians, of course, is from expansion 1. The Ixians and Tleilaxu expansion, and Richese is from expansion 2, Choman Richese. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.